Hey poker people, this is Sky with Smart Poker Study. You're about to watch the 13th video in my 5-minute poker coaching series. In this one, I help LTU Maximus plug the leak of losing money when limping into pots. Let's roll. Alrighty, here is the 21,000 hand database for LTU Maximus. We can see very profitable, $146 up, 14 big blinds per 100 hands, positive right there. So I started taking a look through his stats and stuff. VPIP and PFR look pretty good, but then I saw this limp percentage at 2% total, plenty in the small blind, but quite a bit in the later positions as well. So this is what I discovered for LTU Maximus. His leak is I lose money when I limp. Now, the way you're going to figure this out is you're going to filter for any limp pre-flop and then run the math. And I'll show you that right now. Actions and opportunities, pre-flop. A limp is a pre-flop call. You're just doing any limp right here. Once we run these filters, we are going to find 236 hands, negative $5.60 because of all these limps right here. So if we want to run the math next, so if he had just folded all of these instead of limping, see, when you're folding in the later positions, you haven't committed any money to the pot at all. You just fold your hand, zero loss, zero profit, just move on to the next hand. So instead of all of these limps, he could have saved himself $6.48 if he had just folded all of those hands instead. Now, if he had folded all of these small blind hands instead of limping, now this isn't to say that limping some of these times might be a good, profitable play, possibly was, but just in general, limping is a losing play. It's a weak passive play. So if he would have folded all of these small blind hands, 188 hands times 2 cents each because he plays 5NL, he would have lost $3.76. He would have saved $6.48, lost $3.76. The total added to the bottom line, if he had a no limping policy, would have been $2.72, which is pretty darn good, right? Not bad at all. It's right near 50 big blinds right there at a 4 or 5 NL player. So my sticky note for LTU Maximus is this. He needs to put this on a little note on his computer monitor so he could stare at it pre-session and during the session to make him not limp anymore. If a hand is worth playing, raise or make a 2-bet in this instance. Here's a little strategy note. Calling and limping is hopeful poker. You're saying to yourself basically, I'm hoping to see a cheap flop and hit it hard. Instead, what you want to do is come in for a raise. Your odds of hitting the flop are the same regardless of how you enter the pot, but raising gives you the opportunity to take it down pre-flop. If you get called, you also have initiative on the flop, and a C-bet often takes it down. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. You have the same opportunity to hit. So a pocket threes right here. He decided to limp in. Sure, he won 16 cents, 8 big blinds in this hand, but let's just take a look at pocket threes. Now, if you limp in with pocket threes, your chance of hitting trips or better is 12% of the time, right? What if you don't limp in? What if you call instead with pocket threes? Interesting, it's still 12%. What if instead of limping and instead of calling, you actually raise with those pocket threes? Interesting, still 12%. So no matter what, whatever hand that you play, it still has that same opportunity to hit the flop. So basically, come in for a raise gives you an extra way to win the pot then and there, or potentially, like I said, C-bet on the flop and take it down then. So purposeful play. This is what I recommend to LTU Maximus and anybody else who does a lot of limping. Over the next 5 sessions, use a tick sheet to make a note of how many pre-flop limps, calls, and raises you make. And it could look something like that right there. Your goal is to have more raises than calls and 0 limps. Remember, if it's worth coming in, it's worth coming in for a raise. You want to tag any hand where you were tempted to limp, and you want to tag those so you can review them later on. Speaking of reviews, here is your purposeful study. Review your tagged limp temptation hands. For each hand, answer the question, why was I tempted to limp? Maybe you have like a weakness for suited connectors, small pocket pairs, suited aces, even a hand like Jack 7 suited, right? Because it's suited. You want to take notes on any mistakes that you make and work to not repeat them on the felt in your next session. Now, one last thing I want to show you. Let's take a look at some of his hands here when he's limping. Okay, offsuit connector, suited ace, Jack 7 suited, pocket 3, offsuit connector again. You could see a lot of his hands follow the same pattern. Suited kings, suited 8-5 right there. He likes suited hands, he likes connected hands, he likes pocket pairs as well. So he's limping with all these speculative hands. Instead, Ace deuce hits the flop the same percentage whether you raise or you limp, right? Pocket eights, king six suited hits the same. Come in for a raise and give yourself that additional way to win the pot. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching, and an extra big thanks to LTU Maximus for opening up their database to us. I hope you use what I showed you today to improve your game. Click either one of these videos to watch more in the series, and if you want me to be your coach, visit smartpokerstudy.com/coaching.